Hello, everybody. Happy Friday to you. We're going to do this one called Kalooa today, part of the Zentangle Inktober prompts. Um, I had to take a screenshot of it because it's on Instagram, and Instagram doesn't let you stay zoomed in without keeping your fingers on the pinch, which is annoying. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, apparently, we're going to do this S shape, and then we have to go this way. So it makes like a U with some curves, and then we go this way. Uh, these little petal shapes. Can you even see that? Are you too far away? Those little petal shapes, and then we go over here and we do this shape here, and then it goes down here to go this way. So we're making this U and in, and then this. And then we can put those four trumpets together like that. And here are some variations. It can be like this. It can be with auras. It can be like this with a little extra embellishments. It can be like this. There's a variety of things you can do with it. Over here is some of her artwork with it. I like this or this, sort of a mandala-like thing. We're just going to play with it. This one or that one. I didn't take screenshots of the rest of her Instagram, so I don't. There were other artworks, but that's the one we're going to be inspired by. Why did I just close that page? Because now I can't see it. There it is. Turn on my light. Pick a piece of paper. What size do we want to do today? Let's do this size. And let's do whatever comes up here first. Blue. Apparently it's going to be on blue. Alrighty then. This particular piece of paper, just so you know, for your own reference, is a little over 4. It's about 4 1/4 by 5. And I think I do think I want to do that this way and this way. So I'm going to do smaller ones here in the middle. And then bigger ones coming out from that, like she did on one of her samples. I think that's an attractive shape. But we are going to give this a go here. Let's zoom in on step 5. Okay. So I'm going to do this U all in one step. Like that. Rather than in 2 steps. It's so much easier. And then I'm going to do this as a step. Kind of come out and down, out and down, out and down, out and down. Very tulip-like, I think. Something like that. And then a kind of thing that comes out here. I'm just using my pencil marks as kind of a guide as to where the middle of the page is there. So I'm not too out of bounds. Hey, I did that pretty well. All things considered, I did that pretty well. And then I do like this artwork that has a second one here. kind of brought it down into 3 steps. And then let's embellish. Going to order this like this. Then I'm going to come up and around like Did I do that anywhere even close to being even? No, I did not. But that's okay. That's better. That's better. Better to do a little butterfly antenna sort of shape first, and then do this other shape around. Kind of like something of that nature. Is it perfect? No, no, it is not. But it's not bad. Not bad. Okay. And then I think I want I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to do. Guess I've decided I'm making that a little bit thicker. Oh, we had this week one of the most distressing things. Well, we had a lot of distressing things this week. It's been a hard week, but this little old lady in a wheelchair. She comes in, gets her prescriptions. She uses a taxi service. get her to and from the store. She asked us to call the taxi for her, which was fine. We did that. And like they said, it would be 45 minutes to an hour. That's a long time to wait for a taxi. You know, it really is. And she was only going, I think this is the problem. She was only going like maybe a mile. She wasn't going very far. She was in a wheelchair. She can't wheel herself a mile, you know. Not even an electric wheelchair. And but we told her, and she said, "Oh, okay." And that must be their standard answer to her. It's 45 minutes to an hour. And about an hour later, she was still sitting out front. She asked if we could call again, and I called again. They said, "Well, there's nobody in the area. It'll be 45 minutes to an hour." I said, "Well, that's what you said an hour ago. That's not acceptable." And I said, "She's in a wheelchair, and she needs to get home." And he said, "Well, there's nobody in the area." And so then another hour goes by. So now she's been waiting for her ride for 2 hours to go a mile. And she was right. She goes, "I could have pushed myself home for that rate." And she's right. She could have, but then that's very dangerous for her to be out on the streets in a wheelchair with hard to move. It would have been hard for her to cross the streets. That would have been so dangerous. I don't want her to leave. I called them back again. I told them. And at that point, she says, "Well, I'm diabetic and I need something to eat." She was getting all shaky. My coworker and I, we each pitched in. I bought her some cheese and crackers. My other coworker bought her some water. We pitched in. We got her some food so that she wasn't, going into a diabetic coma or something. And called them back, and they said, "Well, there's still nobody available in your area. It'll be another 45 minutes to hours." I said, "That is not acceptable. You're telling this lady she has to wait 3 hours for a ride?" I said, "She's disabled. She needs to get home. She needs to take her medicine." That's just not acceptable. I was so upset when another 45 minutes had gone by and they still hadn't come. She'd been there nearly 3 hours. I asked my boss, I said, "Well, can I just take her home?" And unfortunately, life the way it is. Liability, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it while I was on the clock. They didn't want me to do that. And I even volunteered to clock out and be on my own time so that I wasn't driving on company time. And he still wouldn't let me do it. Which, I understand. If I got into a car accident with her in the car, then it's liability on us, it's liability on the store, so forth and so on. But I could almost cry. I was so upset. So we were just about to call back a fourth time when my coworker said, "Well, I'll just pay for an Uber." She had Uber on her phone, and she was just going to order an Uber and pay for it herself. She goes, "This is ridiculous." And we were just about to call the Uber when the driver of the taxi called and said that he was on his way. He was 10 minutes away. Somebody could have driven a taxi from Las Vegas in the amount of time it took them. I looked them up after I got home, and I was really upset. I looked them up, and their base of operations is in San Bernardino, California. And even if a taxi was on the other side of San Bernardino, do they only have one? Seriously. If they were on the other side of San Bernardino, it shouldn't have taken more than a half hour to get to our location. And if all the taxis were at the airport, which I understand, we're not too far from a regional airport. Actually, it's an international airport. We're not too far from an airport. So if all the taxis were located at the airport, I could understand that. But it still wouldn't take more than a half hour to get from the airport to our location. 3 hours was just unacceptable. Honestly. And one of the times I tried calling, nobody answered the phone even. It just rang and rang and rang and nobody answered the phone. I swear that it's a taxi service run by one girl in the office and one driver, I think. I don't know, but it just made me so mad. Just made me so mad. How can people do that to the elderly? Or anybody? But, I mean, can you imagine if you were somebody who relied on a cab and you called a cab? I mean, how long would you expect it to take for a cab to get here? I mean, honestly. 10, 15 minutes? Half hour? Tops? I would expect that. I mean, I've never taken Uber or Lyft, but it shouldn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes to get. It wasn't going to take more than 10 minutes to get to where she needed to go. And I suspect that's why they didn't send a cab, is because it wasn't worth their while. It was a short trip, and it wasn't going to make them any money. I suspect that's why they didn't send anybody. But it was just horrifying. Horrifying, and it really upset me. And that happened like 4 days ago, and I'm still annoyed at it. I had their phone number from all the times I called. I tried looking them up in the phone book. That's where I found out that they're located in San Bernardino. But then when I clicked on go to their website, that doesn't work. Their website is not functional. When I tried to put in their information for Yelp, because I was going to give them a bad Yelp review, that didn't work either. When I tried to do that, their company didn't show up. It just, I don't know. Don't use them. I'm gonna call them out. It was Bell Transportation or something. Don't use them if you're in San Bernardino County, Inland Empire area. Don't use them. Now we're gonna do our shading. That's going to pull upward there. That's going to pull upward there. I'm using the soft 6B, so I'm not worrying about putting down a lot of graphite because I know it'll really spread. Something like that. We're going to do something like that for the shading. Let's see how much this 6B pencil just really goes. Anyway, point of my story is to do something nice for someone today. And if you can, offer them a ride somewhere, do that. I was so close to just saying, forget it. I'm going to clock out. I'm going to be on my own time. But he didn't let me clock out because there was nobody. There was nobody to take my place. And then I told her, I said, well, if you wait until my shift's over, I'll take you home. But that was going to be another whole hour. She didn't need to wait till 4:30. But it's not the first time this has happened at our store. We had another lady who used a different transportation service who dropped her off, said they'd be back in an hour, and 8 hours later, they still hadn't picked her up. 8 hours later. And we didn't, for about 5 or 6 of those hours, we didn't know she was there. She'd wheeled herself out of the building to wait, and she was around the corner, and we couldn't see her from the door. And I thought her ride had picked her up long ago, and when I left the building for the night at 4:30, she was still sitting out there. I told my manager, I said, she's still sitting out here waiting for her ride. But she had wheeled herself around the corner, so nobody knew she was there. That was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I want to... I'm using the chalk pastels and a stick. Blend that out a little bit. So I'm not going to worry too much about it being perfect here. Like that. Where's my blending stuff for reds? Mustard brown. Red. I've got a separate blending stump for each color for these pastels. Just so I don't contaminate the ends too much. Kind of want a yellow in the middle. Feeling yellow. Not too sure why I started with red, but I did. That's cool. I like that. We're going to go with the bright yellow. Okay. And I'm going to maybe put a little bit of white in that. Right up the middle. Okay. And then a yellow blending stump. Oh, red, brown. Must be this one. White. Oh, where's the yellow one? Good gracious. Yellow. Look at there. Very subtle, that white. Do I need to put it back in? Maybe. Just a little bit more. But now it's more there than it was. There. That's better. All right. You know what? I kind of like that. Wasn't too hard to do. What was it called? It was called Kalooa. Unlike our friend who have a dog named Kalooa, but they spell it like the liquor. This is spelled Kalooa. Alrighty, there is the last one for this week. We have 4 more videos to go for the Inktober challenge, and then we'll move into November. When we move into November, I am going to start working on some of the cards from Alina Light and see what those are going to be like. And yeah, we will see you guys on the next video. Go out and do something nice for someone today. Make the world a better place. Or drive somebody if they need a ride. Call and yell at the taxi company if they need to. I mean, yeah, just annoyed me to no end. Ugh. When she comes, because she is a regular, when she comes in again, I'm going to suggest to her that she try making an account over at Uber instead. And then we'll just call Uber for her. That will be better. All right, you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.